Hello everybody, thank you for watching Drinking with Nerds. I'm Don, and this is Bar Shots. Today, we are going to be talking about one of my favorite settings ever, the world of Thea of 7C. 7C was created by John Wick. It was a big role-playing thing for quite a bit, about 10 to 15 years ago. Recently, it just got a major update for 7C's second edition, which is now expanding to include more parts of the world of Terra. 7C itself is a game that is focused on swords and sorcery, but in a 16th or 17th century kind of contemporary setting. So you have swashbucklers and pirates, musketeers going up against highwaymen and bandits. You have piracy on the high seas. You have intrigue within noble courts. There's mystery and ancient artifacts and romance. It's essentially every single thing you've ever loved about books written by Dumas or stories like Julie d'Aubigny, except you get to play those heroes. You get to be someone important in the world. You get to be a real game changer. One of the things I love the most about 7C's design philosophy is that you, the player, do not start out as a nobody. For those who are familiar with games more like Dungeons & Dragons or Pathfinder, it's very, very common that in the beginning, you start out as a level 1 character. You can do a couple of things, but mostly the world is very dangerous for you, and going up against anything more than, say, a small handful of bandits alongside your closest compatriots can be very deadly very quickly. 7C does not take this assumption. In the world of Thea, you start out as the lost prince of a fallen empire. You start out as one of the most famous highwaymen in all of the country. You start out as the king's bodyguard. You start out as an infamous assassin. You are not nobody. You are a game-changing hero who can affect major things throughout the entire world. Thea itself is very much based upon Europe. The nations and places that are within it, and much of the culture, is based upon Europe within the 17th century. There are some things that are omitted and some things that are definitely glanced over, but ultimately it's a pretty good smattering of what you would think of if you think of a kind of fantasy take on Europe during the 1600s. There are the British Isles, which are represented with Fae and She that inhabit the court of Queen Elaine, who is very much based upon the actual Queen Elizabeth I. There are the Vodacci, who are Italian merchant princes. There is Castile, which obviously is Spain, for those who know that Castile was one of the kingdoms that founded actual Spain in our history. You have the Montaigne, who are France, under the Sun Emperor himself, Leon Alexandre, who is basically like Louis XIV as well. Which means, though, that there is tons of political strife and lots of things to really sink your teeth into in 7C to get involved in as a hero. In Montaigne, the aristocracy keeps on horribly oppressing those beneath them, and the poor keep going without food. Endless wars mean that more and more veterans come home injured with nothing to really return to. The situation can't last. Montaigne itself is teetering on the verge of what could be their own French Revolution, but which way will your hero tip the scales? In Castile, there is an actual inquisition that is taking control of every level of the government, hurting people, torturing heretics, burning witches. The people need something to rally behind, but as far as everyone knows, good King Sandoval's child is missing. Or did he only have the one? All across Thea, there are seeds like that for adventure. They always allow you to take a major role in shaping the futures of these nations. Now, what I personally love about 7C 2nd Edition is that not only do we focus on Thea, on the main continent, but our view of the world has expanded greatly. In pirate nations, we get to go see places like Numa, which is very much based upon the Byzantine Empire in Greece. We get to see the Atabean, which is their version of the Caribbean, except the Atabean in this case really is the sea of monsters, filled with gargantuan sharks and lobsters bigger than any ship that can pierce through the hull with their giant pincers. It's a dangerous life on the sea. But it's a profitable life too. There is plunder to be made from raiding ships of the Atabean Trading Company, and no voyage is complete without returning to Aragosta and partying up with the pirates that are there. You get to sail all across these islands that are filled with many different diverse cultures, many different diverse peoples, interacting with them, being a part of them. There are slave revolts in islands that were used as sugarcane colonies. There are privateers and pirates who you can either join or fight against. And always looming is the evils of the Atabean Trading Company, who deals in gold and lives. However, we have now also moved farther to the east as well. We now have great guides that are based on the Crescent Empire, which in the world of 7th is akin to the Ottoman Empire. So now we have adventurers who are 7th version of being Turkish or Arabic or Persian. They have their own cultures that get very deep dives, so that way you can make heroes specific to these areas of the world, having the values that they hold. We also just recently got Ifri, the land of gold and fire, which is their version of Africa, so you can fight to defend their fantasy version of the Mali Empire, or you can be an actual Mandinka warrior. Well, the 7th version at least. All of these can be combined together to have a truly globe-spanning campaign of fighting against evil viziers within the Shah of Parsis. But then that could lead to maybe dealing with slavery issues in the Atabean, all culminating together to going to the blood-soaked fields of Ison, where the 30 Years' War, or their version of the 30 Years' War at least, has actually given rise to vampires and werewolves, the horrors of the night that are resisted by noble heroes, trying desperately to protect the common folk. Most recently, we are soon to be getting, at the time of this recording at least, 7th Kitai, which is going to bring us to the east of the world of Terra. This will delve into cultures like the many different parts of China at the time. Feudal Japan. We'll get a look at certain Polynesian cultures and India and the island kingdoms of, say, Majapahit and the kingdoms of Siam. So far, we have never actually gotten a look at these places within the world of 7th. Second edition is going to be the first to actually bring this to us. For me, at the very least, this is incredibly amazing. I can't wait to actually dig my teeth into what it looks like playing a hero from these other cultures. What it looks like when the values of Kitai are far different from the values of Thea, and the Atabean, and Ifri, and the Crescent Empire. Whatever type of game you want to run, 7th has it for you. If you want a noir story that deals with shadow intrigues within the Montaigne court, you can do that. If you want a gothic horror story, constantly dealing against horrors that are far more powerful than the players, but through perseverance and faith, and a little bit of steel and gunpowder, they may just pull through, you can do that as well. If you want high adventure on the open seas, or if you want to sail across sands that stretch farther than any ocean, you can do that as well. I highly recommend to anyone interested in any single type of high epic adventure in a setting that draws heavily from things like the Three Musketeers. Check out 7th. You will not be disappointed. I give you my word. I'm Don. This has been Bar Shots, and I will be drinking to you next time.